again, everyone that is just joining us. We are so excited to have you here for the second event in our lineup of SNHU Internship Awareness Month 2024 sessions. My name is Dana McGrath. I am an employer relations partner with SNHU Career Services. Again, we're so grateful that you've taken the time today to join us for this internships and for online and non-traditional learners presentation and employer panel. Please keep in mind, again, this session will be recorded. We have turned off the microphone and cameras for attendees just so that we can focus on our presenters. But if you have any questions, pop those right into the chat throughout the session. And we have 3 of our knowledgeable internship administrators and 4 excellent employer representatives as your presenters today, who we'll introduce momentarily. Feel free to put your questions in the chat throughout the session, as we will be collecting those, and we'll ask as many as we can during that Q&A portion later on. First and foremost, our accessibility statement. So individuals with accessibility needs requiring accommodations may reach out to the following contacts. Online students can reach out to oac@snhu.edu or reach out to phone number 866-305-9430. For campus students, you can reach the cac@snhu.edu email or call 603-644-3118. And then any faculty or staff in attendance can reach out to hr@snhu.edu. As a reminder, for any future events, a request for live captioning or live ASL interpreting requires at least 3 weeks advance notice. Thank you so much. And joining me today as your key presenters and moderators are 3 internship administrators from the SNHU Career Services team, Emrique, Anissa, and Larry.
Thank you, Dana. Hi, everyone. My name is Emrique, and I am an internship administrator here at SNHU, and I support all students in the social sciences and liberal arts verticals.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anissa Roundtree, Internship Administrator at SNHU. The programs I support is the business programs where internships are non-required but highly encouraged.
Hello, everyone. My name is Larry Shane. I'm an internship administrator for the required marketing, accounting, sports management, and fashion programs. And now, Anissa is going to share a bit more about the SNHU internship team and the services that we offer.
So let's bring our attention to our services. The Career Advising and Insert team are here to help you with the following as needed: guidance on how to research and contact possible sites, resume and cover letter review, assistance with interview preparation and other aspects of the hiring process, guidance through the approval process on Handshake, providing networking tips and opportunities that will help you build community, Handshake support, and how to search for internships.
Thank you, Anissa. Now let's take a look at the benefits an internship provides. First and foremost, you're networking with the people you need to meet. You're test driving the work that you think you want to do with your degree. You're gaining professional experience and skills to put on your resume. And in some cases, an internship can lead to a job offer. You can discover your passions in the field that you want to work in, and you will receive feedback about your work and your abilities, which can lead to opportunities for personal growth. And lastly, you can learn about certifications you might need and professional organizations you may want to join to advance your career. Now let's look at the differences between a traditional versus a non-traditional student doing an internship. The traditional student tends to be on the younger side, usually under the age of 24. They typically attend school on a campus and start college right after graduating from high school. They usually do not work full-time and more than likely have no dependents. Non-traditional students, on the other hand, tend to be on the older side, over the age of 24. They attend school online and can sometimes be active duty military or veterans. They typically have full-time jobs, can be caregivers or have family responsibilities, and have taken time off from school before pursuing a college degree. Now let's send it over to Emrique, who will introduce today's panelists.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Anissa, as well. Now let's introduce our panelists for today. So everyone, first and foremost, please welcome Rachel Schumacher, campus recruiter with Eide Bailly LLP. So Rachel, thanks so much for joining us today. While your bio is on the screen for our attendees to read, could you share a bit more about the tech consulting, accounting related, and other roles that you recruit for?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm so excited to be here. As you mentioned, my name is Rachel Schumacher, and I work as a campus Eide Bailly. Eide Bailly is an accounting and professional services firm, and I am lucky enough to get to work on their campus recruiting team, and I primarily work on the technology consulting and specialty services side of things. So not only am I recruiting accounting students, but I'm also recruiting those who are seeking careers in technology.
Perfect. Excellent. Thanks, Rachel. So next we have Ben Ashpole, the founder and CEO with PromoterMotor.com. So Ben, while your slide is on the screen as well, please share with us the types of roles you host interns for at Promoter Motor.
Hi, I host a lot of different types of roles from business, HR, computer science, graphic design. We're looking for interested and self-starting people to contact us and reach out that would be interested in a small business that works primarily with nonprofits.
Perfect. Thank you, Ben. And next we have AARP recruiting manager, Angela Hurley. Angela, welcome. Could you share about the types of internships available with AARP? I believe you're muted, Angela.
Sorry about that. Yes, I work from the national headquarters at AARP, and on an annual basis, we hire almost 200 interns to work across our enterprise. And our enterprise consists of all of the 50 state offices and some of the territories, as well as headquarters. And in terms of areas of specialty, we run the gamut. So in our state offices, they tend to focus on skills in outreach, advocacy, communications as the core. And at headquarters, we have interns who are in IT, certainly marketing, data analytics, information technology, legal, you name it, business operations management, and we have an innovation lab. I have an internship that's out there for policy and brain health, because brain health is elevated for us at AARP as a priority. So those are just a few of the internships that we hire for on an annual basis.
Gotcha. That sounds great. Thanks so much. And now, finally, last but not least, please welcome Louise Casey, an executive team leader on the human resources team with Target. Louise, could you share a bit more about the types of intern programs that you support?
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for letting us be part of this today. This is a part of my job that I'm very passionate about. Although I have a full-time position as an executive HR, I joined the campus recruiting team 4 years ago. And each year we are actively recruiting for 800 plus interns throughout all of our states. As you know, there's usually a target in every city. Most of you will live within 20 miles of a target. And we are looking for in-store executives that could take on a role in the next year, within a year from the internship program. It's a paid internship, and that can be exciting because a lot of internships are not paid. It is 8 weeks in store, and we're looking for students who are looking to grow in their leadership capabilities, looking to enhance communication, networking, partnering, to really test drive the roles that they believe that they might want to achieve after college. From these roles, you can transfer into different roles within the organization, but we are very excited to be part of this. So thank you.
Thank you. No problem. And I want to thank all of our panelists for being with us today. So now we're going to jump into some preset questions to dive deeper into our topic for today, which is internships for online and non-traditional learners. So I'm going to pass it over to Larry to get started on some preset questions. So go ahead, Larry.
Thank you, Emric, for those great introductions. So to start off, for all of our panelists, we'll kick it off with this question. How does your organization accommodate online and non-traditional students for internships? What does that look like during the application process or during the experience itself? Rachel, could we start with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe to no surprise, we treat all students honestly the same. And part of the reason that we do that is because we want to have you come to us with your true authentic self. We don't want you to be nervous about maybe being a non-traditional student or a traditional student, one or the other. We really want to see you, and we want to learn about you on your resume. So on your resume, you can always include maybe why you took some time away from school, or what you were doing within that time, or maybe you were a part of the military or something like that. We'd love to learn about that. But honestly, we treat all students the same, and we really love students that have various different backgrounds. As a professional services, a consulting firm, we love those different backgrounds because you can pull from them in your consulting role and give a different experience than most other consultants might be able to give. I do also note that sometimes we even target non-traditional students. Sometimes you have a different maybe timeline or graduation date that really matches up with the role that we're hiring for.
Thank you, Rachel. And Ben, your perspective?
Yeah, we have all of our interns as remote positions, and so the application process is the same. We definitely look for people that have a high attention to detail, and so we give instructions that are fairly lengthy as well as extremely informational internship descriptions. And we are very glad when we see non-traditional students because they often pay extra attention to that and are aware of the importance of making a good first impression and have spent the extra time to look into our descriptions, our websites, and attending to every aspect of the preparation for the interview process, which tends to make the interview process almost more of a formality as opposed to a challenge. So we really enjoy having people and have a high acceptance rate for the well prepared.
Great, thanks, Ben. And Angela, same question?
Yes, so I echo what Ben and Rachel have just, oh, Louise, I'm sorry, have just said. We at AARP, because of our state offices, our reach is very broad. And so one of my development objectives each year is to expand my search in my sourcing in places that I won't normally look for great talent. And so in terms of preparation, I encourage all of my interns or applicants at the time to make sure you're showing up as your true self, and make sure your resume is crisp. Make sure you're, run a spell check, because it's amazing. I do get a number of resumes that are still in tracked changes. And so you literally have seconds to keep my attention. So that's your responsibility in ensuring that you show up in the best possible light. In terms of, ensuring that we are reaching everyone and that everyone's voice is heard, we spend a lot of time with our interns in different capacities. And I can speak more to that in terms of networking opportunities once you're on board with us.
Thanks, Angela. And Louise, same question.
Very similar to what has already been said. But it is all about how you are presenting yourself, how you are laying out your resume, whether you are a traditional student or a non-traditional student, really showcasing how those leadership skills in your life are translating to the job that you want? How does maybe the military prepare you for a leadership role? How does being a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad translate to a role that you are looking to obtain? I am 40. I have a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in homeland and security management. And I found myself this year going back to school because there's things that I still want to learn and grow. So, how do you translate those skills into the workplace? And so, when we at Target are looking at resumes or an application for our internship program, really that's why our requirements are very streamlined. There doesn't allow room for bias. It's, are you able to commit to an 8-week internship program? Are you able to start in June? Are you able to accept a full-time position within 1 year of completing the internship, should you be presented the opportunity for that role? And on the resume, I'm looking for confidence. I'm looking for somebody who can be expressive. I'm looking for, to Angela's point, did we pay attention to the details with spell check?
Great, thank you. Thank you all for those insights. For our next question, we'd like to ask Louise and Rachel, what should or shouldn't an online student do to stand out in the application process and during the internship experience?
Perfect.
Louise?
I can go. Louise.
Sure. So just similar to some things that I've already said, but being able to self-promote yourself, showcasing those leadership experiences. It's not always about how many jobs or clubs that you're part of, but how did you stand out in that job? How did you stand out in that club? Were you training people? Were you organizing events? Were you collaborating? How did you partner with your peers? Being prepared to be able to tell us what you're able to gain from an internship experience, like being vulnerable in those moments of like, this is where I feel really confident in, and then through your internship experience, this is what I'm hoping to gain. But also being prepared by researching the company, and being able to share something that you learned that shows that you were invested in the company that you want to potentially work for.
Sorry, Rachel, now the floor is yours.
Perfect. No, I echo what Louise said, honestly. A big thing I'll also double touch on is how Angela said, I also see a lot of resumes that still have suggestions on changes. So it's important that you can manage those details and make sure you're submitting the most up-to-date resume that's specific for the company that you're applying for. I see a lot of resumes as well, especially in the tech space, where it says my goal is to gain an internship with X company, and it's not Eide Bailly. And although sometimes I do still keep those resumes on the pile, it is harder for me to not want to pass up on them. So I think the big things from my are check your resume and double check the details. It's really important as you're going through the application process to follow all of the instructions. I see so many students failing to do that basic piece of applying through the entire process or answering the questions correctly. I understand the job market and the place that we're in, especially in technology, where you're throwing tons of resumes out there and seeing what sticks. But I think it really does speak to the quality of candidate that I'm viewing if you take an extra minute to read the question that's being asked in the application and give a detailed answer. Other than that, it's failing to do those simple things that maybe doesn't get you past the first round of resume reviews. But it's important to also highlight not only your technical skills, but your soft skills. As I'm recruiting in the consulting space, whether that's technology or the accounting consulting space, I think it's really important that you showcase, you have that attention to detail. You can communicate, you're a team leader. Those different things are going to get you ahead of someone who maybe is only showcasing their technical skills. We are looking for people who can not only communicate internally, but externally with clientele. So I think those are the big things. Kind of check your resume, double check, make sure you're following instructions and get the details on there, and then showcase yourself in a unique way on your resume.
Wonderful. We definitely appreciate you sharing those key tips. And a question for Angela and Ben. How does your company facilitate networking opportunities for interns, especially those who may not have traditional networking avenues available or accessible to them? Angela, we'll start with you.
Thank you. One of the areas that we're focusing on very heavily, for example, last year, we introduced the very first Discover AARP career fair. And this was an internal career fair. And we hand selected candidates across the United States that we would invite to join. It was well received. I think for the first attempt, we did really well. We had over 300 in-person candidates who came into our headquarters. And so we have a brand new remodeled headquarters as of perhaps 8 years ago, just before COVID. And we're located at a great downtown location. So it was inviting them in, see who we are, see how the machine works for us at AARP, and then, developing that network among recruiters and managers, etc., for those who are looking and interested in AARP. The other thing we do very quickly is when interns come in during the summer, we plan a speaker series for them. So they really get, over the course of 10 weeks, every week there's an event where we invite leaders to come in and speak to the interns. When we're lucky enough to get our CEO, Joanne Jenkins, she shares a fabulous story with the interns, telling them how she herself started her career as an intern many, many years ago, working for Elizabeth Dole. And then of course we have our CFO/COO who will come in and speak with them about what it takes to manage the organization. And then of course I cannot forget Nancy Lamond, who is our chief lobbyist, and her portfolio is in charge of the largest organization within AARP, and that includes the state offices. And so she loves interns, and one of the best advice she gives to our interns is you never wait until you need a reference to get in touch with us. So when you leave us, we encourage you to stay connected. If you've gone on in your career, you're doing a piece of research, drop us a line. Let us know what that research is. It might be on brain health. It might be on caregiving, but stay in touch. So you find your ways to stay in touch with your managers, with your recruiters, because your career will take you along the way. And connect on LinkedIn. It's an easy way to connect.
Thank you, Angela. Ben?
So we have a lot of resources and training that we give to make sure that all of our interns have lots of networking meetings with lots of different people throughout their internship. Everybody gets networking experiences guaranteed, and as much of it as you would like to have. So for example, I've been writing a book on advice about communicating in the workplace, and including much advice about networking that every intern gets to read and provide feedback on. We have an internal sort of social network that we call our scrapbook, which each intern fills in and gets to use as a discussion aid for networking meetings. We have a form of progress tracking, and we talk about your networking as part of a middle of internship meeting, which helps encourage that everybody not only does networking, but the people around you do networking to make sure that networking is happening around you. We gave you advice about how to network using LinkedIn and with each other, not just tell you to do it, but like how to do it. We give you advice about, for example, keeping in touch with people on their birthdays and using your mobile phones and calendars and what to do with that. Having weekly meetings with your peers and teammates in the company and elsewhere. We also explain about leaving your contact information in our internal documentation and how to use that so that even after you're gone, future people can network back with you. So there's multiple directions and it's across departments and time. We also have spaces of communication. So it's a group chat mechanism within the company to encourage networking between and across teams and departments. We encourage and have social hours for networking. And right from the beginning, as part of our interview process, we select people that demonstrate initiative and have experiences with speaking up just as a way of encouraging it at the core of our company culture. So networking is a part of everything that we do. And we even give advice about how to use networking if you want it as a way of finding future jobs and internships for those that want it.
Excellent. Thank you both very much. Now, a final question from me here, and then we'll go to the student questions from the chat. So this can be open for any of you who want to jump in. And this kind of alludes to what Angela had already addressed. Once an internship is completed, what should a student do to stay connected with your company and or the employees they collaborated with throughout their experience? Anybody want to jump in first?
I can go. So I think it's really important to stay connected to the relationships that you built in that internship experience, whether that is your peer leader that was with you for the entire duration or other leaders in the building. So in my setup, we have 15 leaders. So when an internship coming in might be focused in HR or specialty or general merchandise, but they have the ability and access to 15 different mindsets, 15 different people that might teach them different skills that they may have connected. For me, it's about maybe there's somebody that they really connected with that might become a mentor where they can meet once a month for advice, or maybe my skill set is looking over resumes where I can connect with you in the future as well. I think there's other avenues outside of LinkedIn, though I do strongly encourage LinkedIn use because it's a great platform to build relationships outside of just the company that you're looking at. You could build in a tech firm, you could build in a retail space. LinkedIn provides a professional platform, but you can also do it in-house as well. I know that there was a question in the chat regarding, are you at a disadvantage of if you don't have a LinkedIn? No, you're not. A lot of cities, a lot of towns have business networking. I know in my community, they meet every Tuesday where you can gain that exposure. So it's all about how you look at things and research your community's offerings. And it's sometimes even better just to go out for a networking night and meeting people in person and asking those questions and creating those connections.
Anybody else?
I would have to disagree that if you can use whether it's LinkedIn or some other social network, they are a low effort way to maintain loose and long distance connections. And so that if you can leverage them without much cost or extra time to yourself, then I would highly recommend it. So you do gain some advantage, or conversely, you are at a disadvantage if you choose not to. And the alternatives would be, for example, your contact list in your cell phone. For example, as I mentioned earlier, keeping track of people's birthdays and wishing them well is a very common thing that we recommend, or other key dates or important aspects. If you just show that you remember them and give a little update about yourself at those times, there are workarounds. And it's always a soft trade-off thing. The more different avenues you have to keep in touch with them, the better. And at our company, one of the things we're doing as a marketing company is launching more services. Actually, part of what we do as a company is help other companies get in touch and stay in touch with people. So this is something we actively work on. And if it's of interest to anybody, it might make a good internship for you.
Yeah, Ben, I agree with that. And Ava Beal, I believe you asked a question about LinkedIn. So let me give you an example. I am a boomer. I'm one of the last of the boomers. And there was a time when every time I needed to operate something in the house, I would have to call my daughter in Nashville to ask her, how do I do this again? And she got so tired of having to do it over and over again. Now, AARP saw the need and we acquired a company. It's a startup company outside of born in Brooklyn, New York, called Older American Technology Services, or OATS. And basically, it is as it sounds. It's teaching older people how to use technology. And so I surrendered many years ago, and I am using social media. I use LinkedIn. You have to manage the LinkedIn. And one of the things I would say is that is the first place that I usually go to when I'm sourcing for candidates. And so, you know, again, if you don't want that exposure, manage it carefully. I know as students, you can limit who has direct access to you. But this is where we are. Social media is important. AARP recently designated that at the end of last year, designated that we are going to be moving to a platform of digital first in all that we do throughout the enterprise, the way we operate. And so all of my friends who call me complaining, telling me, tell AARP to stop sending me so much mail, we will meet our members, especially the older members who prefer to continue to get their mail in their mailboxes. But we are operating from a digital first platform in everything we will do. So and of course, AI is here and we're all adapting to the chatbot and everything else on campus. So even us, those older folks, when I started at AARP, we weren't network and we were using typewriters. So we have to adjust and adapt. And that's one of the key areas I look for in interns. How quickly can you pivot? You know, the soft skills that one of my colleagues here spoke about earlier, those are important.
Yeah, I think I echo what everyone has already said as well, but I'm going to jump off base from the question a little bit, and I'm going to go back. I know the question is about once your internship is completed, but I'm going to talk about while you're in your internship just quickly. Really use that time to network, right? Create relationships and build them so that when you're done with your internship, you already have that strong foundation to work off of. So I think it's really important during your internship, you're doing a lot of learning, challenging, but I'm gonna ask you to push yourself and network while you're in that space, whether you're a remote intern or in office. Taking an extra minute to get to know someone at the water fountain, or maybe in the end of a virtual video Teams call, is going to give you that leg up when you're done with your internship and you want to reconnect with that person. I think it's really important, whether you're connecting with them on LinkedIn or getting their email and emailing them in the future, they'll remember you a little bit more if you spend time building your relationship while you're in your internship, whether that's throwing a calendar invite on someone random in the department or maybe not even in the department's calendar. I know Eide Bailly has an open door policy, and I assume most companies do at this point. And no one's going to question why you're throwing that calendar invite on someone's calendar, especially if you're a student who wants to learn and wants to continue their relationship with the company after your internship. Sorry, off base, but I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Good points.
Great. This has been, I'm sorry.
If I may just offer one thing on that, I think that's just so excellent. I've given the following advice to a lot of interns that may be a little controversial in this room, but I think about it like this: if you're in school and you've already done well at lots of classes, maybe you've taken dozens of classes at this point, you're thinking about getting close to graduation, and you have the choice between taking one more class or spending time networking, let's say with alumni, professors, etc., generally my advice is to really strongly consider spending a lot of extra time networking, because that's something that very, very few students do. But as a result, it lets those that do massively stand out from their peers, much more than probably any one class could ever let you do, no matter how well you do with it or what the class is about.
Great, thank you. Well, this has been a great conversation. Thank you all. Now let's get to the student questions that have been submitted in the chat. Anissa, take it away.
Oh, Anissa, I think you're on mute.
Thank you, panelists, for all your wonderful information and enlightening our students with your great knowledge and your years of insight. Now, we'll turn the session over to our student questions. Our students have asked so many great questions. The questions are open to all panelists for answering. The first question of the session is the following panelists. How do you best recommend fitting in internships with your program if someone is also working full-time? Any outside of the box ideas?
I'll start. And good question. So I know, especially those of you who might be in your junior and senior years, those are busy years for you. We try to be as flexible as we can with our interns. We do offer year-round internships, which typically are the more popular route for managers because they prefer to have their interns for a longer period of time rather than just the 10 weeks of summer. And so when I'm doing a screen of a candidate, I ask that question. I have them focus on their upcoming academic schedule, and I ask, are you able to commit to an internship for at least 18 to maybe 20, and some can up to 25 hours per week? All of our interns can work up to 40 hours per week, but it is not required during the school year. So during May through August, if you want to work full-time with us, you can up to 40, and then mid-August you and your manager can have a discussion about what your fall schedule looks like and adjust. We want to help you balance. We want you to find that balance between academics and professional life. And we don't want our interns just working for the sake of working, but we want you to have a nice balance. So what you have to do is just be honest, negotiate, let them know what courses you're taking, let the recruiters know what courses you're taking. I made an offer to a candidate who unfortunately declined because her fall schedule is just going to be so busy. So she is going to look to us for summer opportunities. So there are some options you might have, but don't just lock yourself in and say, well, I can't do it. And maybe it is a trade-off working with your manager to reduce your number of full-time hours, because an internship on your resume is gold, and you should start trying to get those internships under your belt at least by your junior year, because senior year is often hectic for you. So try to knock out at least one internship on your resume during your senior year.
I would agree with a lot of what you said, especially in our company. Although the internship is highly focused in June and July, at the end of that internship, there is a potential opportunity based on how well you do to continue throughout that full time. So although you would have to be ready to be able to take on a full-time position within a year of it ending, the internship doesn't have to stop. There is an internship wave 2, where based with your school schedule, you could be working still with Target throughout the school year and potentially start that full-time role that June after graduation.
Yeah, win-win.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other panelists? Okay, we have another question. Oh, do we have another panelist?
I guess I just think that the issue with fitting it into the schedules is often intertwined with this sense of pressure to like do so many things in a limited amount of time. And oftentimes that's because a lot of people feel that they're under some time pressure. They have to get so many things done by the time that they are X number of years old or by the time of graduation. And I guess for what it's worth, again, another thing that I often counsel people is that um, you've got more time than you think. And I think you'll wish that you had invested more time in yourself when you look back on it. And that if you need to stretch out putting more time into your education, you'll, at least me anyway, would look back on it as time well spent. Because getting to the job an extra year early really doesn't make any difference in the grander scheme of life, at least not to me. That by the time you get past your 20s, another year or two plus or minus is like nothing. It's just like you hardly notice the years go by. They just go so quickly. And so if you can, I know there's financial pressures and other considerations, but if you can give yourself the time to do the things you need with quality, then I think that's a good way to think about it, because then that allows you to do the time commitment you need for your internship, and then separately the time commitment you need for your classes and other obligations. And again, the thing to think about is what's everybody doing, right? You don't have to do all the things that everybody does if you want to stand out.
Yeah, and another thing too, I see more schools offering micro internships. And so for those of you who are super busy, that might be a good opportunity. I think you come into the organization for about a week and you work on a specific project. So don't close the door completely. Always look to see what resources are available out there. And some of the schools are getting great funding to hire. They pay the interns directly. And so they just look for employers who are willing to host those interns.
I'll quickly piggyback after what Ben said. And I'll say one of my biggest regrets was pushing to graduate as quickly as I could in comparison to taking a step back and having a really meaningful internship experience where I could have gained a full-time role from that. I understand from students' perspective, right? Like there is a tremendous amount of pressure. Get into school, graduate, get a great job. And I know there's other external pressures as well, right? Like money is a big concern, or maybe you have children, or maybe you're someone's primary caregiver. So like we understand and we want that transparency while you're applying. Kind of like Angela said, just be honest with us, and we want to make it work just as much as you want to make it work. But the big thing, like a big regret I have in my career is not doing an internship with a company I could have saw myself at full time after. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. We are at session time, and we thank all the panelists today for coming and giving your great insight and helping our students along. I'd like to turn the session back on to Ms. Dana.
Thank you so much, Anissa, and to our wonderful panelists. And in respect of time, are the panelists okay if we have a couple more questions? But if I understand if that's not, we have so many great questions. So if you do need to hop off, but do want to ask a couple that came through. So as far as, looking for students that are applying, do you require that they already have some work experience, or should they apply for an internship even if it lists some skills that they don't have just yet?
Yeah, we recognize that you're students, and certainly you won't have all of those skills that we're looking for. And a lot of times I have to remind my managers that we are recruiting for an intern, not an experienced hire, because managers get excited, right? And so what I would say is if you don't have as much experience in the working world, but you've taken courses, right, that are applicable, make sure you list those courses on your resume. So as a recruiter, I literally am looking at a resume in seconds, and I have keywords that I'm looking for. And when I see them, that will stand out. So take a step back and remember at the onset, we said how you present yourself. So those courses and group collaboration, that's what I look for. That's very important.
Yeah. A big thing for Eide Bailly is showcasing any experience that you have. One of the first questions I ask in a phone interview is, tell me about something you're doing that's outside of your coursework that's helping you develop professionally. And really what I'm looking for is, have you ever had a job anywhere, ever in your life? Have you been involved in any club on campus, whether it's chess club or technology association? Doesn't matter to me. I just want to know if you've ever done anything that showcases time management and your ambition to learn outside the classroom. So no, we don't expect you to have experience going into your internship. All of it is on the job training. Yes, we expect you to have some coursework underneath your belt, but we really just want to see, like, have you ever done anything outside of the classroom?
Show me that you have deep intrinsic interest in what you do. Show me that you care. Tell me stories about what you do outside of the classroom, projects, discussions, anecdotes, anything that tell me like, hey, you have a passion for this that make up for whatever those things are. We generally hope that you've taken the classes that meet the basic class requirements, because an internship, in our view, is not a replacement for the classes that you should and could be taking on your own. So for us anyway, the class level requirements are hard, because that kind of wastes both our time if you could be getting that from your classes. But as far as other requirements, yeah, if you've got true passion, tell us when you're sending in an application, and tell us, for heaven's sakes, when you're in the interview, and that will go a long, long ways.
Fabulous. Oh, Louise, did you want to chime in too?
I was just going to say, I echo everything that Rachel, Ben, and Angela are saying. It's really about showcasing who you are. And that experience doesn't necessarily come from a job. It could come from a club or anything that you've done in your life that, to Rachel's point, can show time management or the passion that Ben spoke about. Really important to just show up and be who you are and lay that out while you're during that interview process.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for that. And on the other side of the coin too, really with someone that is a career changer, a non-traditional student that's seeking an internship, how would you handle that? Maybe give some advice for someone that, they might have been told they're overqualified for an internship. How would you approach that for our student population?
One of the areas I look for when I'm recruiting, especially non-traditional interns, and by the way, in our business, when we think about non-traditionals, it could be someone who had to take time away to care for someone, caregiving leave, or to take care of children. And but while they didn't have a full-time job, they may have been the president of the PTA, and during their tenure may have raised the most amount of money for financial initiatives at the school. And so that's transferable skills. I'm looking for that. And so again, it is how you are showing up, how you're presenting yourself, and that will take you very far. So I encourage you to always stay positive, always see yourself. I tell all of my interns, an internship at AARP is not about Xeroxing and getting coffee. It is, you are an integral part of the team. And when I prepare my candidates to go in for interviews, I say, you go in and you own it. This is yours to have. But you have to be your authentic self. And there might be times when you don't get the position, and there might be times when you feel that being yourself isn't what they were looking for. Well, perhaps that's not the place for you, but always remember you have something to offer. As a non-traditional intern, you have a lot to offer us at AARP. And so the first thing is you have to have the confidence and believe in yourself. And that comes over to me as a recruiter.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other insights? Or I know we have a couple of other questions and I want to respect time, so we won't keep you too much longer. Oh, Rachel, were you trying to say something?
No, I was just going to say, go to the next. We'll get through as many as we can.
Yeah.
I think Angela hit the nail on the head.
All right, wonderful. Thank you all. So I know that, Ben, you mentioned remote internships, but as far as remote internships, do any of you offer specific opportunities that are remote? And also, do you hire students outside of the US for remote internships, for example, in India?
Yes and yes.
Eide
Yes, we
Bailly
take-
does offer.
Oh, sorry. All of our internships are remote, and we allow interns to participate from outside the US as long as they're able to participate in meetings during US business hours.
Eide Bailly does offer remote internships both on the accounting and the technology consulting side of things, more often on the technology consulting side of things. We only offer internships to students currently seated in the US right now. We are, hopefully, my fingers are crossed, working on a program to offer internships to students in India or maybe studying in the US and then returning back to India. So far future, but we're working on it right now, which means hopefully in the next year or two, something comes to light.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much. And as far as we have a couple of specific questions for programs. So what resources would you recommend for a cybersecurity student in searching for internship or entry-level positions in tech?
Yeah, I can speak to this one. I think it's all about what I already talked about, right? Is seeking opportunities outside of the classroom. What you're learning in the classroom is exactly what we want, but we want you to be interested enough to be seeking opportunities outside of the classroom. Some students get really nervous about additional certification, or maybe when I'm on the phone with them, they're a little insecure that they don't have that additional certification. It's not what we're looking for, okay? We don't need you to have any additional certification. We just want to know you're interested in maybe doing projects or maybe working with a club or doing some competitions outside of the classroom, saying, you know what, cybersecurity is my future and I want to learn about it, whether I can pay for a certification or not. Eide Bailly Internships, we also do a great job of promoting certification once you're an intern and reimbursing you for some of those different things. So if you were ever required to have a certification, we would pay for it after you become an intern. So yeah, normally just looking online, doing some personal projects, understanding cybersecurity as a whole, and experiencing different areas, that should be free resources online. And you can showcase that on your resume.
Yeah. The other thing I would encourage students to do is, for those of you, let's just use cybersecurity as an example. Remember, you're one of many, many candidates applying for one job. And so when you go in, don't be so singularly focused that you're missing the greater good. So I encourage you, for example, AARP has, AARP is the parent, and then we have a charitable arm and a for-profit arm. So when you look at a job description, look to see if maybe if I'm not exactly in IT at the moment, will I be able to draw upon some of the skills and the training that I am looking for? Because the AARP Foundation is doing amazing work. And AARP has adopted the fraud network, because unfortunately many of our members or people 50 plus are falling victim to financial crimes, etc. So that is another of our priorities. And so as a cybersecurity expert, or just starting your career, that might be a segue for you to eventually get to IT, because you're competing with so many others. While you come in, you might work within the AARP Foundation, continue to build your skills, and in a year or so, you can find a way directly into the IT path. So look at job descriptions and weigh it carefully as to what you can get out of that.
I really like what Angela said. It is the hardest part of my job when I get 3,000 applicants and we're hiring one student. So what Angela said is beautiful. Get your way into the company, maybe doing something else or doing another internship with another company. Use those skills to get the next internship.
And network while you're doing that. Yes. Because I know all of my colleagues here, when we're done, I'm going to reach out to them on LinkedIn. So we're networking ourselves, right?
Love to see it. Every opportunity, making professional connections. I know networking can be such a tricky word because it can be intimidating, but it's, it's not anything more than just reaching out to people that are doing things you want to do or interests that you have. So I love that so much for pointing that out. And I know we're over 10 minutes over now. So if anyone had any other questions about internships or for the panelists that we can follow up for you, please feel free to reach out to our SNHU career team. The internships team can be reached at COCE internships at snhu.edu for specific questions about, when you should do an internship, advice on your resume, helping you with guidance on opportunities and how to apply, how to find the right opportunities for you and your goals. So be sure to reach out to our internships team by phone or email. Check out Handshake. I looked yesterday, there are over 5,000 paid internships available on Handshake and so many more for the experience as well. So definitely use Handshake as a resource. The internship team can, of course, support that as well with how to navigate Handshake and that networking piece. As we've been mentioning, we have our internal SNHU Connect community and all of the online social networks that you can engage with fellow students, alumni, and everyone that is part of our SNHU worldwide community as well. So just another round of applause to our panelists for being such excellent experts today and sharing wonderful insights, advice, and discussing our topic for online and non-traditional learner internship. So thank you again. Have a fabulous rest of your Thursday, everyone. And the session will be recorded or has been recorded, and you can find it on the SNHU Career YouTube page within the next week following today. So definitely check it out if you want to revisit any of the topics discussed. But thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Yeah.